A headline for every day of January 2025. Years of inaction on crisis at Secret Service set stage for Trump shooting in Butler. Authorities hunt for clues and possible accomplices in New Orleans attack. Biden decides to block U.S. steel sale to Japanese buyer. Judge upholds Trump's felony conviction but does not plan to order jail time. Elon Musk goes global with his playbook for political influence. Wide-reaching winter storm will affect millions across several states. Biden and Harris's agonized, ironic roles in certifying Trump's win. Newsom declares state of emergency as severe winds spread Los Angeles fires. Wildfires rage in L.A., killing 5 and destroying 1,000 buildings. Supreme Court refuses to delay Trump's hush money sentencing. 11 killed, 37,000 acres burned by L.A. fire. Evacuation order expanded. Palisades fire creeps closer to Interstate 405. Death toll rises to 16. LA's wildfires have leaders fighting on 2 fronts, nature and politics. Trump could have been convicted in election case, special counsel says in report. South Korea's impeached president detained over martial law gambit. Biden warns of the rise of a new American oligarchy in farewell address. Biden seeks last-minute moves that could be hard for Trump to undo. Resistance to Trump may look different in his second administration. Israel-Hamas ceasefire and hostage release deal set to begin Sunday in Gaza. Trump's first orders likely to include border, drilling, and DEI policies. Trump takes office, orders policy reversals. As Trump defends January 6 pardons, experts warn clemency fuels extremism threat. Trump shuts off access to asylum, plans to send 10,000 troops to border. Johnson aide advised against subpoena of January 6 witness over concerns about lawmakers' sexual texts. Hegseth confirmed as defense secretary after Vance breaks tie. Trump's first-week strategy, flood the zone, repeat. Trump backs off trade threats after Colombia agrees to deportation flights. White House pauses all federal grants, sparking confusion. House tells federal workers they can resign now, get paid through September. Passenger plane collides with military helicopter in D.C., crashes into Potomac. Airport tower was understaffed before collision. A headline for every day of February 2025. CDC removes gender and equity references in public health material. Musk aides gain access to sensitive Treasury Department payment system that controls $6 trillion per year. Trump and allies make more moves to wrest control of USAID. Trump's tariffs on Chinese goods take effect, adding a 10% fee to imports. Trump proposes U.S. takeover Gaza. DOGE broadens sweep of federal agencies and gains access to health payment systems. Recall of USAID's global workforce causes havoc and distress. Judge bars Trump from putting 2,700 additional USAID workers on leave. Lawyers worry that migrants sent to Guantanamo are entering a legal black hole. Trump says he will impose 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. Trump pushes ahead as courts and Democrats try to block him. Trump executive order vows substantial cuts to federal workforce. Trump closes down federal worker buyout offer after judge lifts hold. Trump administration directs agency heads to fire most probationary staff. Trump's federal firings imperil government services from cities to farm towns. ICE struggles to boost arrest numbers despite infusion of resources. Musk's DOGE seeks access to personal taxpayer data, raising alarm at IRS. Top Social Security official exits after clash with Musk's Doge over data. U.S. reverses plan to shut down free COVID test program. Trump's attack on Zelensky stirs fear of major U.S. shift on Russia. Trump expected to take control of USPS and fire Postal Board, officials say. Trump ousts Joint Chiefs chairman after other leaders in major Pentagon shakeup. With Pentagon purge, Trump thrusts military into uncharted territory. In first month back in office, Trump upends century-old approach to the world. Trump administration tells agencies they can ignore Musk order on email reply. House passes budget framework, setting up talks with Senate on how to enact Trump's agenda. Supreme Court grants Trump request to pause USAID payments order. Judge blocks Trump administration's mass firings of federal workers. A headline for every day of March 2025. Trump blasts Zelensky in Oval Office. Fresh Musk emails to workers lead to renewed pushback at federal agencies. Washington now largely aligns with Moscow's vision, Kremlin says. Trump administration to pause future deliveries of military aid to Ukraine. Trump signals full speed ahead on divisive policies. In Trump's GOP, a twist of Reagan's peace through strength. Trump tells cabinet that they, not Elon Musk, should go first in cutting workers. U.S. suspends commercial satellite imagery service to Ukraine. Anger at Elon Musk turns violent with Molotov cocktails and gunfire at Tesla lots. Trump touted sweeping tariff and Doge plans, then watered down as backlash grew. White House downplays economic blips as stock market tumbles. Education Department, with mass layoffs, cuts nearly half of its staff. Trump vowed to fix the economy. His voters are still waiting. Schumer says he plans to support the GOP funding bill, lowering odds of shutdown. Senate averts shutdown, but vote leaves Democrats bitterly divided. Judge blocks Trump from deporting Venezuelan migrants under Alien Enemies Act, orders planes to turn around. White House official says 137 immigrants deported under Alien Enemies Act. Trump escalates fight with federal courts over deportation authority. Judge orders Doge to stop efforts to dismantle USAID. Trump to sign order aimed at closing Education Department. Elon Musk to visit Pentagon to discuss China and Doge reforms, officials say. Federal judge pushes back on acting Social Security head over threat to close agency. Autocrats worldwide rolling back rights and rule of law and citing Trump's example. Trump turbulence leads allies to rethink reliance on U.S. weapons. Trump officials shared military plans in unclassified chat with journalist. Hegseth faces renewed scrutiny after Signal chat disclosures. Trump escalates global trade war with new 25% automobile tariffs. Internal White House document shows agencies preparing to cut between 8% and 50% of staff. Signal chat flouted rules on classified intel, say former defense officials. Secret Pentagon strategy memo on China. Homeland Defense has Heritage Foundation fingerprints. Without offering details, Navarro claims that Trump's new tariffs would raise more than $6 trillion. A headline for every day of April 2025. GOP lawmakers take aim at anti-Trump rulings and nationwide injunctions. Liberal wins Wisconsin Supreme Court race in blow to Trump and Musk. U.S. announces 10% tariffs on all imports and additional taxes for some 60 countries. Tariffs sink markets and fan recession fears. U.S. abandons 80-year era of pursuing globalization. Mass protests held across the U.S. in opposition to Trump and Musk. Asian markets fall sharply as Trump tariffs spark recession fears. Cracks appear among Trump's cheerleaders amid market turmoil. What special relationship? U.S. image sours in Britain and Europe. The 18 hours that changed Trump's mind on trade. Supreme Court says Trump officials must facilitate return of wrongly deported man. Trump's historic China tariffs spread pain through U.S. and global economies. Trump officials have private goal to deport at least 1 million immigrants in 2025. No evidence linking Tufts student to anti-Semitism or terrorism, State Department office found. Harvard hit with $2.2 billion funding freeze after rejecting Trump's demands. Justice Department must provide details of attempts to return illegally deported man, judge says. Internal budget draft reveals deep cuts to federal health programs. Senator meets with man wrongly deported to El Salvador. Senator Van Hollen recounts meeting in El Salvador with wrongly deported man. 3 ex-presidents denounced the current one in a 2-week stretch. Sensitive documents, including White House floor plans, improperly shared with thousands. Catholics mourn lost voice for the dispossessed. Hegseth amps up criticism of leakers after more scrutiny of Signal usage. Hegseth had Signal messaging app installed on Pentagon computer. Trump tariffs have Democrats seeing an outside chance in this red state. Video casts doubt on Ed Martin's apology for praising Nazi sympathizer. 3 U.S. citizens, ages 2, 4, and 7, swiftly deported from Louisiana. Democrats seize on a new issue to use against the GOP, Social Security. FBI and national security agencies using polygraphs for leak hunts. USPS law enforcement assists Trump mass deportation effort, sources and records. A headline for every day of May 2025. RFK Jr. will order placebo testing for new vaccines, alarming health experts. Judge rules Trump's use of Wartime Act for deportations is illegal. Trump administration plans major downsizing at U.S. spy agencies. Before a new pope, a tug-of-war for the soul of the Catholic Church. Justice Department lawyers face skeptical judges upset by shoddy work. Israel plans to seize parts of Gaza and stay indefinitely. India strikes Pakistan after Kashmir attack, raising fears of war. Trump expected to announce trade agreement with United Kingdom. Leo XIV calls for the church to build bridges. Chinese exports, aided by tariff dodging, defy Trump's trade pressure. Leo XIV, from Chicago's suburbs to the pinnacle of power in the Roman Catholic Church. The hidden ways Trump and Doge are shutting down parts of the U.S. government. Trump's gifted Qatari 747 would be a security problem, officials say. Trump pulls sanctions on Syria, extends olive branch to Iran. Democrats rattled again by fresh claims that Biden aides hid his frailty. With Trump's trip, Persian Gulf states take center stage in AI boom. Audio of 2023 Biden interview with her reveals pauses and halting replies. Trump's actions are pushing thousands of experts to flee government. Biden diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Biden diagnosis draws well wishes and questions and conspiracy theories. Israel's plans for Gaza test limits of some of its closest European partners. 2 Israel embassy staff killed near Capitol Jewish Museum in D.C. Homeland Security revokes Harvard's ability to enroll international students. Immigrant arrests at courthouses signal new tactic in Trump's deportation push. Trump softens on Putin as Russia's military edge weakens, officials say. Patients navigate an absolutely insane maze to afford weight loss drugs. Deadly strikes hit Gaza as new aid group says it has begun distributing food. Trump's frustration with Putin boils over with no Ukraine peace deal in sight. Air Force One deal with Qatar isn't final despite U.S. claims. White House Maha report may have garbled science by using AI, experts say. U.S. Steel Nippon deal will involve no layoffs, Trump says at rally. A headline for every day of June 2025. Trump wants gold standard science. What does that mean? Ukraine attacks Russian aircraft and far-reaching drone strikes. Suspect in attack on Israeli hostage event charged with hate crime, accused of planning assault for a year. Musk blasts Trump's tax bill as disgusting, citing unsustainable debt. Trump announces travel ban on 12 countries and sweeping expansion. The epic breakup between Trump and Musk's White House alliance. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is returned to U.S. and charged with human smuggling. Trump orders National Guard to L.A. after immigration raid triggers protests. Tear gas fired at protesters outside federal building. Trump mobilizes Marines, 2,000 additional National Guard troops. Trump to ramp up transfers to Guantanamo, including citizens of allies. RFK Jr. picks new members of vaccine committee after purge. Israel attacks Iran and braces for retaliation. Iran fires ballistic missiles at Israel. Minnesota lawmakers, husband killed in shooting, setting off search for gunman. Suspect in Minnesota shooting in custody after wide manhunt. Trump reverses position, signs G7 statement criticizing Iran and backing Israel's right to defend itself. Trump debates bombing Iran in pivotal moment for presidency. Trump gave Iran an ultimatum but has made no final decision on war. European ministers to meet for Iran talks as Trump cites chance for diplomacy. From evacuate Tehran to 2 weeks behind Trump's shift on Iran. U.S. warplanes strike nuclear sites in Iran. IAEA assessing damages to Iran nuclear sites. Iran appears to confirm it'll cease attacks on Israel. U.S. initial damage report. Iran nuclear program set back by months, not obliterated. White House to limit intelligence sharing. Skip Gabbard at Senate Iran briefing. Classified briefing on impact on Iran strikes leaves senators split. Doge loses control over government grants website, freeing up billions. Senate Republicans vote to take up Trump's tax bill, overcoming resistance in their ranks. Senate Republicans seek to vote on Trump's massive tax bill Monday. A headline for every day of July 2025. Senate GOP closes in on vote to Trump's tax bill, but holdouts remain. Trump's tax bill heads to the House, where a bumpy road awaits. Johnson pushes to get House GOP holdouts to back tax bill. Trump is set to cement a budget-busting legacy, adding to the national debt. The Supreme Court and Congress cede powers to Trump and the presidency. Democrats step up efforts to woo military veterans ahead of midterms. Death toll in Texas flooding nears 80 as local officials promise full review of what went wrong. Texas floods kill at least 104, including 27 from Camp Mystic, as search continues. Supreme Court allows Trump to launch mass layoff and restructuring plans. Unhappy with Putin, Trump and Congress move closer to Ukraine. State Department to begin layoffs in effort to downsize government. Kerr County did not use its most far-reaching alert system in deadly Texas floods. ICE memo outlines plan to deport migrants to countries where they are not citizens. Facing a crackdown, Central American immigrants send more money home. ICE declares millions of undocumented immigrants ineligible for bond hearings. Speaker Mike Johnson and other Republicans break with Trump on Epstein. Trump officials halt dangerous research, overriding NIH career scientists. House passes $9 billion in spending cuts after fight over Epstein files. How Ukraine's allies help Zelensky recover his standing with Trump. Trump's DOJ has fired dozens of prosecutors, upending decades-old norm. Months of Trump's tariffs are shifting supply chains and diplomatic ties. As MAGA world focuses on Epstein, Trump seeks focus on anything else. Obama's office rebukes Trump administration's treason claims as distraction. Trump struggles to contain furor over Epstein as House lawmakers seek subpoenas. FCC approves $8 billion Paramount Skydance merger after lengthy review marked by controversy. Amid starvation scenes in Gaza, Trump administration hardens tone on Hamas. Hegseth team told to stop polygraph test after complaint to White House. Trump and European Union reach trade deal with 15% tariffs. Whistleblower evidence suggests Trump judicial nominee Emil Bove misled Senate. Tsunami alerts issued for U.S. West Coast and Japan after 8.8 magnitude quake. Trump says he has a trade deal with South Korea as Friday deadline nears. A headline for every day of August 2025. Trump says sharper tariffs to take effect in a week, but 35% rate for Canada starts immediately. Trump fires labor statistics chief after large revision to jobs report. Economic fears of investors are here and fed by Trump's reaction. Texas Democrats flee state in effort to block GOP from overhauling House map. Netanyahu vows to occupy Gaza as U.S. touts all-or-nothing hostage plan. Trump redoubles attack on federal jobs data, calls number political. Trump's tariffs take effect, potentially upending global trade and prices. Republicans push to redraw election maps in multiple states. DHA is delaying millions in already approved North Carolina recovery funds, documents show. IRS and White House clashed over immigrants' data before tax chief was ousted. FBI dispatching agents to D.C. streets as Trump weighs calling National Guard. Trump to take over D.C. police and deploy National Guard. As National Guard troops arrive, there's uncertainty over who's in charge of D.C. police. Man who hurled sandwich at law enforcement in D.C. charged with felony. Bowser, D.C. Attorney General, reject push by Bondi to name emergency police commissioner. Judge says D.C. police chief remains in command, but Trump can likely demand help on immigration. Republican-led states to send hundreds more National Guard troops to D.C. U.S. ready to give Ukraine security guarantees when Trump meets Zelensky. Zelensky and European leaders try to steer Trump away from Kremlin with D.C. visit. Piro's office won't pursue gun charges over carrying rifles and shotguns in D.C. Limits of Trump's diplomacy clear as Moscow balks at Ukraine plan. Trump administration plans to vet all 55 million foreigners with U.S. visa. Ghislaine Maxwell tells Justice Department she never saw Trump act inappropriately. Pentagon plans military deployment in Chicago as Trump eyes crackdown. National Guard now carrying weapons in D.C. Trump moves to fire Lisa Cook from Federal Reserve Board. FEMA employees put on leave after criticizing Trump administration in open letter. Children prayed for a future filled with hope, then the gunfire began. In his final years, NFL owner secretly relapsed, got ketamine from private doctor. Social Security whistleblower quits after saying Americans' data was compromised. Tariffs ruling is a major setback for the White House. A headline for every day of September 2025. China tries to use Trump turmoil to unite leaders against U.S.-led order. Trump cuts to climate satellites could affect weather prediction. D.C. mayor offers indefinite coordination with federal law enforcement. Texas moves to allow residents to sue abortion pill distributors. Senators grill RFK Jr. over chaos at CDC. Takeaways from the fiery hearing. Maryland leaders announce police surge in Baltimore amid Trump's threats to deploy troops. Resistance to Trump's D.C. crackdowns is taking many forms. Doubts about RFK Jr. grow for some Republicans. House committee releases documents from Epstein's estate, including redacted birthday book. Judge temporarily halts Trump's firing of Federal Reserve Board member. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk killed at Utah college event. Officials release new video of person fleeing in Charlie Kirk shooting. Charlie Kirk's shooting suspect went from a quiet upbringing to a murder charge. Charlie Kirk's social media machine moved a generation to the right. Authorities uncover new details about Charlie Kirk's shooting suspect. It was me. Suspect in Kirk shooting appeared to confess in Discord chat. Prosecutors say alleged Charlie Kirk gunman wrote, "I had enough of his hatred." Fed cuts interest rates by quarter point, signals more could be coming. Jimmy Kimmel's suspension raises fears of a new censorship era. Ted Cruz says FCC chair's threats about Kimmel are dangerous. Low-income Americans slash spending, a worrying sign for the economy. Trump and allies cast Kirk as martyr in memorial that blended politics and religious fervor. Disney brings back Jimmy Kimmel, sidelined after Charlie Kirk comments. What researchers suspect may be fueling cancer among millennials. Justice Department will seek to indict Comey on allegations that he lied to Congress. Former FBI Director James Comey indicted amid Trump push to prosecute foes. New details emerge on Hegseth's unusual mass gathering of top brass. Trump calls for troops in Portland, escalating use of military inside U.S. Democrats and Republicans dig in ahead of Trump meeting on funding bill. Military leaders voice concern over Hegseth's new Pentagon strategy. A headline for every day of October 2025. Shutdown begins amid blame and acrimony. Trump has warned that he'll fire federal employees. Hegseth escalates war on leakers with lie detector tests and non-disclosure agreements. Trump administration approval of abortion drug infuriates the right. Hamas accepts Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza, but with conditions. Trump authorizes National Guard in Chicago as ICE and protesters clash. Judge temporarily blocks California National Guard from deploying to Oregon. VA spends billions on dubious, even fraudulent disabilities benefits. Supreme Court sharply questions law banning conversion therapy. Hegseth's hunt for Charlie Kirk's critics spans nearly 300 investigations. Justice Department indicts New York Attorney General Letitia James. Trump announces new 100% tariffs on China after stocks sank on earlier threats. The pain from the government shutdown is about to hit the public. A conservative influencer was arrested in Portland. The president was watching. Hundreds of CDC layoffs reversed, but biodefense preparedness staff hit. U.S. kills 6 alleged drug smugglers in new strike off Venezuela, Trump says. Trump says he has authorized covert CIA action in Venezuela. John Bolton indicted over handling of classified material. Trump urges armistice at current battle lines in Ukraine after Zelensky meeting. No Kings protests against Trump draw large crowds across the country. Rubio promised to betray informants to get Trump's prison deal with El Salvador. Trump can deploy National Guard in Portland, appeals court rules. White House expands East Wing demolition as critics decry Trump overreach. Russia acquired Western technology to protect its nuclear submarine fleet. Trump says he's canceling trade negotiations with Canada over anti-tariff ad. Pentagon orders aircraft carrier to Latin America as Trump signals escalation. Trump raises tariffs on Canada by 10% over Reagan ad. U.S. and China reach tentative trade deal, setting stage for Trump's meeting with Xi. How Jack Smith's strongest case against Donald Trump collapsed. White House fires arts commissioners expected to review Trump construction projects. Ahead of Xi meeting, Trump directs Pentagon to test nuclear weapons. Trump push to restart nuclear tests could take years and cost millions, experts say. A headline for every day of November 2025. Trump administration must release billions in SNAP funds, judge says. Voters divided on midterms despite broad Trump disapproval, poll finds. Voters broadly disapprove of Trump poll finds. Dick Cheney, vice president who shaped war on terrorism, dies. 5 takeaways from Democrats' big night. 5 reductions in 40 high-traffic markets slated to take effect Friday. Travelers brace for turmoil as flight cuts kick in at major U.S. airports. Supreme Court temporarily blocks order on releasing SNAP benefits. Trump demands ACA subsidy change as Senate remains divided over shutdown. Senate takes key vote towards ending government shutdown. Deal to end government shutdown passes Senate and heads to House. Democrats lose shutdown battle as Trump and Republicans risk losing war. Longest shutdown in U.S. history ends. Trump signs bill to reopen government after 43 days of disruptions and delays. Trump faces heat from MAGA base on America First agenda and Epstein. Epstein texted with House Democrat during Cohen hearing, documents show. Escalating rhetoric from U.S. over Venezuela alarms region's leaders. In shift, Trump says House should vote to release Epstein files. Larry Summers stepping back from public commitments over Epstein emails. Congress to send bill to Trump forcing disclosure of Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump signs bill calling for Epstein files to be released. U.S. Coast Guard will no longer classify swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. GOP Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene announces she is resigning from House. Trump says Zelensky can agree to peace plan or fight his little heart out. In cities targeted by ICE, empty desks and school disruptions follow. Charges dismissed against former FBI Director Comey, New York Attorney General James. FBI seeks interviews with Democrats whom Trump called traitors. D.C. shooting is called a targeted attack. Suspect believed to be an Afghan national, 2 Guard members in critical condition. Afghan national faces charges in D.C. shooting that has left 1 National Guard member dead. Hegseth gave a spoken order to kill everybody in First Caribbean boat strike, officials say. GOP-led committees vow to scrutinize Pentagon and killing of boat strike survivors. A headline for every day of December 2025. Trump says Hegseth told him he didn't order killing of boat crew. Concerns grow that Hegseth and White House aim to scapegoat Admiral in deadly boat strike. Hegseth, citing fog of war, says he learned of survivors hours after strike. Republicans begin to tighten the screws on Hegseth's Pentagon. Video shows second strike hit before survivors could flip boat, lawmakers say. Trump orders review of childhood vaccine schedule, calls U.S. an outlier. Companies seek refunds from tariffs as Supreme Court decision looms. The U.S. citizens getting caught in Trump's immigration crackdown. Zelensky rules out ceding land to Russia. House panel plans to end its boat strike probe, GOP chair says. U.S. seizes oil tanker off Venezuelan coast, Trump says a significant escalation. Trump is expected to loosen federal restriction on marijuana, people familiar say. National Trust sues to stop White House ballroom construction. Trump leans into isolation as challenges mount at home. Father and son are suspected gunmen in Australia attack that killed 15, officials say. Police release photos after $50,000 reward in search for Brown University shooter. Trump announces complete blockade of sanctioned oil tankers to and from Venezuela. In a rushed and combative speech, Trump casts blame for economic fears. Brown University and MIT professor shootings are linked, suspect found dead, officials say. Justice Department releases trove of Jeffrey Epstein records. Tucker Carlson inflames a raging battle for MAGA's future. How Trump and Doge broke the U.S. government. Second big batch of Epstein files includes many mentions of Trump. Supreme Court blocks National Guard deployment to Chicago in defeat for Trump. 10 charts that show where the economy is heading. U.S. strikes ISIS in Nigeria after Trump warnings on Christian killings. With airstrike in Nigeria, Trump inserts U.S. into long-running turmoil. Bankruptcies soar as companies grapple with inflation and tariffs. ICE shifts in tactics leading to soaring number of at-large arrests, data shows. Netanyahu and Trump project unity as Middle East tensions rise. Kennedy Center changed board rules months before vote to add Trump's name.